Let's start with some gorgeous vegetables today. A little asparagus, we got some beets, we've got some mixed carrots, as well as some of these gorgeous tomatoes. I think these are beefsteak. Golly bum, look at those, how gorgeous. Yes, please, let's get to it. First up's our beets. First of all, we're going to get these out. Make sure we chop them up really nice and fine, about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch cube. Then we're going to get out an aluminum foil lined baking sheet. We've already set the temp on our oven to 350 degrees. We're just going to put these right on top to make sure we've got a really good, even distribution. If you got some of these pieces that are stuck together, make sure you kind of pull those apart before we put them into the oven for roasting, okay? Going to splash just a little bit of olive oil on these to make sure they don't stick and to make sure they got a really good lubricated coating. A little bit of garlic powder to make sure we don't put them in there just naked. Beautiful. That'll give you a little bit of sodium and a whole lot of flavor. Avoiding garlic salt, just like y'all been telling me. I appreciate that. Just a little bit of fresh ground pepper and some fresh ground salt. Then we're going to pop them into the oven for just a little while. Beautiful. Now then, next, we're going to get out those gorgeous carrots, all right? We've already washed them real good, just like we did the beets. Going to give them a nice little bath in olive oil. We're going to stir them up real good just to make sure they're all really well coated before we start spicing them up. Beautiful. Now they're going to put just a little bit of that garlic powder on top. Beautiful. A little bit of that onion powder. Then we're going to add just a little bit of Parmesan cheese. Okay, y'all know me. Bring on the dairy. And you just put it in there, probably about 1/4 cup, I'd say. Mix that up really, really well. And we're going to do it very similarly to what we did with our beets. We're going to put it on a baking sheet with what looks like this cooling rack right there on it to make sure that it doesn't stick to the bottom of the pan. Perfect. Be kind of gentle whenever you're moving these from the bowl to the baking sheet. We want to make sure we keep as much of that coating on as possible, all right? Beautiful. Now we're just going to very gently move those to get a really nice even distribution on our baking sheet. We're going to put those in right with the beets, okay? Yeah, get that cheese on there, all right? Beautiful. Now then, we're going to have those beets come out. They're only going to be in there about 15 minutes tops. Just enough to soften them up a bit and then make sure that the edges are just a teeny bit crispy. What we're going to do now is add just a little bit of feta cheese to it. Again, probably like anywhere from 1/4 cup to 1/2 cup. We want to make sure we add some creaminess to it without just overpowering the dish with too much cheese. Going to use that rubber spatula to go ahead and get all that goodie off the walls of the bowl. Promise, I'm listening when you say that. Add a little bit of chive in there for a little bit of color as well as a little bit of fullness of flavor. Next up, we're going to get some thick cut bacon and asparagus. Gosh, I love these things. They are so good for you. Make sure you wash that asparagus really, really well, okay? Now remember, our oven is still on 350, so it's still nice and hot. We took care of our beets. The carrots are still in there roasting a little bit. And what we're going to do is wrap these asparagus spears with this thick cut bacon. And we're going to do about maybe 8 to 10 bundles of these just to make sure we got them really good. You can fill up another baking sheet with these. Perfect. Look at that, how gorgeous. Yes, please. We're about to slide these beauties into that oven where we just got finished with our beets and where the carrots are still roasting. But before we do that, we want to make sure that we give it a really nice dusting with this black pepper. I love fresh cracked black pepper. I also love freshly ground salt. Love that pink Himalayan stuff. You can get it at TJ Maxx for next to nothing. Gives it a beautiful flavor. Next up, we're going to slice that gorgeous beefsteak tomato, okay? Make sure you get a really good, sharp knife. I don't want you squeezing all the seeds out nor the juice. Make sure that you're real careful with it. We can cut these almost paper thin if you got a really good, sharp knife. Look at that, how beautiful. Now here's that gorgeous beet, cheese, and chive mixture. Going to give that a nice little stir. Perfect. By now, our carrots are going to be ready to pull out and get done. Beautiful. Make sure you slide those into your bowl. Another nice little dash of olive oil. A little bit of balsamic vinegar. Make sure we put that in there. I'm surprised that star hadn't shown up till now. Want to make sure we get that in there. It's got a little bit of a higher salt content in it, so please be careful with that if you're somebody who's trying to watch their sodium intake. And make sure that you give that a nice little stir around the bowl. Hey, if one of those little guys gets away, don't worry. Just chase him down and throw him back in the bowl. It's all good. Now let's plate this up and look how beautiful. First, we got that gorgeous beet and cheese salad. God, look at that rich purple color. Just love it. Next up, we've got our gorgeous roasted carrots. Yum. Next up, we're going to bring in that sliced tomato, and we've topped it with just a little bit of mozzarella cheese and some spices. Going to give it a little bit of a caprese salad take. And then we're going to bring in that gorgeous bacon wrap roll. That asparagus wrapped up in that pig. Oh my goodness, y'all. Yes, please. Eat up.